Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 28th of August, 2024. I'm Michael Thompson. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about, so let's get going. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed flat over the day at 8,071 points with a surprise late uplift, reversing a day largely spent in the red. Consumer staples and financials were among the best performers and helped drive the afternoon resurgence. Resources, communication services, energy, metals and mining all slumped throughout the day. Woodside Energy was down 1.2%, with Santos dropping 0.7%. Fortescue Metals fell 1%. Plenty of companies reporting results today. Flight Centre reported its highest record earnings results. Its shares jumped 3.7%. Woolworths also had a lift in sales. Its shares closed up 3.3%. Moving on to story number 2. Now, if you think buying shares in the top ASX listed companies is expensive, you would be correct. In fact, Australia's biggest listed companies are the most expensive right now, more so than at any time in history on the basis of share prices versus earnings, according to a new report from JP Morgan. The report found that weakening earnings, with 40% of companies issuing downgrades this season, would mean that without a pickup in commodity prices, Australia will be an earnings growth laggard. That's a quote. For a while yet. JP Morgan's equities research boss, Jason Steed, told the Financial Review that while Australian and US bourses are trading at elevated multiples, the US has strong earnings growth to back it up. He said this is a rare market setup where share prices and earnings are going opposite to one another. Story number 3, Greens leader Adam Bandt is trying to be the Robin Hood of the business world. He used a National Press Club address to relaunch his plans today to slug corporations with big new taxes. He's called it the Big Corporations Package in a bid to tackle what he's describing as excessive profits from large companies. It includes a proposed 40% tax on coal and mining businesses, quite similar to Kevin Rudd's resource super profit tax, a petroleum resource rent tax, and a 40% tax on so-called excessive profits for companies whose turnover is $100 million plus. He's had his plan costed by the Parliamentary Budget Office, and it reckons all these components together will generate $514 billion extra for the federal purse over 10 years. There is some precedent for this, with the Henry Tax Review recommending a 40% resource super profits tax, but it will be fought tooth and nail by corporate Australia. Story number 4, Donald Trump faces a new federal indictment. It is the same 4 charges brought against him last year, but following a ruling that former presidents largely are immune from criminal prosecution, this time the charges are focused on him as a political candidate looking to be re-elected. The charges are accusations that he allegedly took part in a conspiracy to block the certification of his election defeat to Joe Biden. Fake claims of voter fraud are at the heart of this case. Reuters reports that the updated indictment is relying on key testimony and evidence from witnesses outside of government, including ex-Arizona House Speaker Rusty Bowers. It no longer includes the earlier allegations that he tried to pressure the US Justice Department to overturn his loss. And finally, story number 5, Tabcorp has posted a $1.36 billion loss, including non-cash impairment charges of $1.38 billion amid, quote, challenging conditions in the gambling market. Australia's largest gambling company had a 3.9% decline in group revenue over the 2024 financial year. CEO Gillon McLachlan, the former AFL boss, has warned that the macroeconomic environment will remain difficult for customers amid higher interest rates and high inflation. Add to this a crackdown at a regulatory level, such as gambling advertising restrictions, and the challenges are not easing up in the near term. Shares were down 15% over the day. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 28th of August, 2024. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Join us tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson. Enjoy your evening.